It's been a long time, and who knew that this day would actually come? So we're here to celebrate 3,000 subscribers as a milestone on this particular YouTube channel, and I do want to thank everybody who has been supporting the channel, whether you've been here from the get-go, whether you're a recent subscriber, it doesn't really matter. You're welcome all here. Like I say on some videos, come one, come all. Let's talk about toys, talk about pop culture. Let's have some fun. Now, I do know that this TKO is at a bit of an unorthodox hour. I wasn't able to do the usual Sunday stream yesterday. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention too is that this is something of a good palate cleanser. And the reason I say that is because we hit a few really hot and heavy topics, and in particular, how good's my camera focus? Not actually sure how good it's focusing. Anyway, I'll keep going, and if I'm blurry, you just let me know, and I'll see what I can do to bang the camera, make it actually work properly. Now, we've hit a few hot and heavy topics over the recent weeks. I know last week we had the very polarizing crowdfunding, HasLab, Mattel Creations type of discussion, and it's with this being something of an easier palate cleanser. I didn't have to set up a panel for the week. I didn't have to ask if somebody was available, if they liked the topic, schedule the time. The thumbnail was a little easier because it was just me on there. The topic was just overall, there was a little bit less prep work. Now, I did ask people on my channel members tab, as well as the Instagram account that I've got, whether or not they would be either one, available to talk on the live stream, as in be in the chat and ask questions here, or if they wanted to write in some questions. And we did get a few write-ins on the Instagram, account. And if you do have questions, be sure to put them into the chat. So this is something a little more casual, a little more hangout-ish, and there will be a Patreon and members only live stream after this as well. So I'll break after about an hour and 15 minutes, go pick my son up from school, and then after about an hour, I'll go and do my backstage exclusive live stream. So as far as the history of this particular channel is concerned, I created it back in April of 2021, and at the time, I was very deep and leaning into wrestling stuff. The pandemic had been going for about a year at that point in time, and I had gotten WWE Network back in 2020, and the reason I did that was because I had always wanted to get it, and then with the pandemic having occurred, I wasn't commuting to and from work anymore, so I was saving time each day, and with me just having less places to go, less things to do, I figured it's time to get WWE Network. And what I ended up doing is I just binged everything wrestling for about a year. It'd been a long time coming, and interestingly enough, I haven't used that subscription as much as I normally did in the past. But what I did was I binged it and then decided to start a YouTube channel, and I was gonna primarily talk about wrestling figures. And what I did as a trial run is I leaned into my earlier toy strengths of Transformers and G.I. Joe, because not only did I grow up with those properties primarily as far as toys, a little bit of comics, cartoon, etc. Now, what I'd also, sorry, just trying to catch my train of thought here. I'm not used to being in this room, and I'm used to being around my collection downstairs. But what I'd done is I wanted to mostly make like wrestling toy videos and maybe do some wrestling history videos. But for whatever reason, the videos that got the most traction were either Transformer related or G.I. Joe related. So I'm like, well, I guess that's telling me something. I didn't necessarily swerve my content just for the sake of the audience, but because I like those properties anyway, I had an easy enough time talking about them. Things came naturally to me. So I just said, okay, let's run with it. Now, you still see wrestling content, and the history of LJ and WWF Wrestling Superstars video series that I've done, that series has done very well. So I'll definitely finish that series. I've done 4 out of the 6 years so far. I'm not too proud of the production in the first year, but people still watch those videos, so I guess they're okay. And I guess I just wasn't expecting the Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff to take off the way it has. And I say take off, we're at 3,000 subscribers. I mean me and Ralph and Snoopy and my toys. And what I hadn't thought of is what the next 10 years was going to look like. Now, in all likelihood, it's going to be more history content, a few toy reviews here and there, live streams where I can, though admittedly, the weekly TKO streams are a little bit hard to sustain. So anyway, I do want to get some questions, whether they're in the chat or whether they're on the Instagram page. But one thing I'll do now that we've had a few minutes to get people to file in is I'll just say hello to everybody who happens to be in the chat. Now, I had a few people from Australia who were just waking up. They said their hellos before the stream started. It was Zazel and Johnny Sorensen were on just before the stream. They just gave their hellos, and I think they probably had to go to work on a Tuesday. And we got Ozstradamus Toyz, we got All-Star Moderator Gazz, we got Kato Broadcasting, we got Largo's Lair. Who else have we got? What am I missing in the chat? Anything juicy in the chat? Okay, well, let's just keep scrolling. I'm sure people will remind me. Oh, gosh, who else is there? Oh, Boba Hicks, TJC. I guess this is a good time over in Europe right now to do a stream. You got Matthew Comstock. We were just talking earlier on. And who else has made it into the chat? I saw some other names here. Who else did I see? Andrew Davis, always willing to talk wrestling with me. And just for you, Andrew Davis, let's get the belt out. Good thing about this room is it's the room where I keep the belt. So let's haul that out and just make this room merchandise heavy as possible. How's my camera? Am I actually blurry or am I okay? Who else have we got here? We got Silver K. Yes, that's a lot of coming. Absolutely. Shiny Plastic People. We were just talking on the GDL Discord earlier on. We got Danny Phillips. Good to see you. And Anthony Romo. See you here as well. We've got Skyfall. We've got, how do I say this name? Prem Philip. And, okay, camera is good, apparently. And I'm just going to flag some questions that are coming through. Now, okay, when the channel first started, I didn't even think about doing live streams. I just wanted to do pre-produced stuff. I just wanted to do like figure comparisons and say, what does this Bret Hart figure or this Hulk Hogan figure look like compared to a different one? That's all I wanted to do. One of my very first video on the channel was a comparison of the 4 Bret Hart figures that I've got. My next video on the channel was a comparison of my Fortnite Havoc with the G.I. Joe Classified Firefly figure. Then my third video after that was a comparison of the Masterpiece Transformers Grimlock with the Studio 86 version of Grimlock. And that's all I wanted to do. If you look at those early videos, the aspect ratio is a 1-to-1 ratio. I didn't know how to do the 16:9 ratio. I didn't know how to do backlighting. I didn't even understand my camera settings. For some reason, all those videos have done very well. But I have a hard time watching them again. So hold on, I'm just going to keep flagging some questions in the chat. Who else we got here? We've got Pericles, Dragon Ball Z. No, you are not too late at all. Who else is there? Oh, Daredevil Dave. I thought I saw that name come in. Anyway, so okay, so I think what I'll just do is I'll just read off the questions that are on the Instagram, and these questions are from Peach and Pickles, who is in the chat under a different alias. I'll just give you that hint. And Peach and Pickles asked the question. Okay, here it is. All right. What was something you weren't expecting to happen when you started the channel? What obstacle or challenge did I not think would be a problem, or something that surprised me in a good way? So a couple of things. One is I didn't realize that the wrestling and Transformers content would be a hit with the audience. And yes, okay, so you don't mind being outed on your other account. Okay, Silver K. Great questions, by the way. So I had planned to do basically just wrestling stuff. But the Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff was done as a trial run, and then that ended up being the more or less the bread and butter of the channel. And where I can, I'll do some Motu stuff as well. I just finished recording a Motu video, and I'm just midway through the edit right now on that. So there's a few things I didn't expect, right? Was one, the G.I. Joe and Transformers content to take off, even if it's kind of obvious. But you got to bear in mind, that was right in the infancy of G.I. Joe Classified. So I wasn't sure whether or not it would take off. Other things that I wasn't expecting, live streaming, making friends, a community. I thought that when it came to YouTube, it was a very solo task. It was just going to be me here talking about my toys in a pre-recorded manner, and that's it. So having any sense of community, because I had assumed that every channel was within its own silo. You have your comment section, that's it. I didn't anticipate talking to people on Instagram, Facebook. I didn't anticipate making legit friendships, maybe even meeting people in person. Like, I'm going to be going to Joe Fest in a month's time. I think I fly out a month to this day. And I just never thought about the community aspect. I only thought about the presentation and discussion aspect of it, and maybe some moderation of comments. That's about it. So live streaming was something that was never expected. Never thought I'd be doing this, and never thought I'd make legit friends. What else is there that I wasn't expecting? You know, if it comes back to me, oh, here it is. Anything that I thought would be a problem or something that surprised me in a good way. The good surprises are what I said. The problem really was things like storage. How well could I edit? And it's very difficult to edit, but I'm getting there. Like, I think when I first started editing, it was very onerous. Now I'm into a bit of a routine, but it's still a bit of a task, but I think I know my way around it now. So I think that answers that question. Jeff Morris is in the chat, and Ratface44 are both in the chat. Thank you all for being here on a Monday. I mean, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast. It's 4:30 on the East Coast. I know the best time is probably out in Europe right now, or anybody who's off work early on the East Coast. Favorite video to make so far, and who has been my favorite guest? He says someone who's been a guest. Well, I'll start by saying that my favorite guest can't be one of my friends, because that's just, it's a bit of bias. So I'm going to say that my favorite guests are guests I never expected to see on this channel. When I invited Carson Metaxas from 3djoes.com to come in and talk about Operation Recall, he surprised the group of us. I was on screen that day with Gazz, Ryan Sweeney, and Zazel from Slaughterhouse, and Carson had surprised us by sending the link to Ron Rudat. Ron Rudat being the key G.I. Joe figure designer from 1982 to 1986. And he just showed up backstage, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Ron Rudat's here. And then towards the end of the stream, Mark Pennington, who took over for Ron Rudat from 1986 through 1988, and I think some of his designs continued to be used through 1989, he was suddenly there. And I'm like, oh, you're both backstage. And I ushered them both in to talk about Operation Recall, their experiences with G.I. Joe as designers. And what was really great about that was giving Ryan and Gazz a chance to connect with two of the people whose figures that they bought as children. Zazel had already known Ron Rudat, but I believe it was his first time talking to Mark Pennington, so giving him that experience was great as well. When the stream ended and we were backstage, we looked at each other and went, wow, did that just happen? Like, we literally looked at each other and was like, I can't believe that. I can't believe it. And just getting to talk to them was great. Now, obviously, another guest that I really enjoyed having was Sergeant Slaughter when we went on Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. That was because he showed up as a surprise when me, Zazel, Kelly, Space Commander, and a few of our friends were doing that stream. Just absolute thrill. Now, obviously, when Sarge wants to come on, he'll let Zazel know. But the first time he showed up on Welcome to the Slaughterhouse, which I consider very much the precursor to what allowed me to get the confidence to do TKO. Getting Sergeant Slaughter there just as a surprise, my jaw drops. I'm like, oh, it's really Sarge. That was absolutely amazing, absolutely mind-blowing. And just getting to talk to him for a couple of hours that night. The stream went for an extended time. I had to go for dinner after about 2 hours. Yeah, legend among legends, let's put it that way. So let's see. What other questions here? Was there another question? All right. Oh, there is one from Impossible Pie. Oh, no, hold on. Peach and Pickles had another question as well. I believe she asked, Kayla, you asked, what has been my favorite video to make so far? Right. I've answered the what's the guest, what was my favorite guest. My favorite video to make. It's hard to say, because when I'm in the middle of a video, it starts out as my favorite video to make. And then I end up being so tediously pissed off by the end, it becomes my least favorite video to make. So if you ask me right now, my favorite video to make is the recent History of Transformers 1986 video. I also really enjoyed making the History of the A-Team video. And again, I said this on a backstage Patreon message that my editor kind of crapped out a little bit towards the end of that Transformers history video. Like some elements suddenly disappeared. So at that point in time when I was having to finagle it and get the video viewable during my edit, because if you put too many elements into your editor, it crashes that editor. And then you for me in that moment, I just hated it. When it was done, I was really proud of it, right? The Dark Side of Duke, a video released earlier on in the channel, still holds up as far as my editing and the music and the scripting is concerned. I'm really proud of that video. It didn't take off to the level that I wanted to, but the hardcore fans of the channel really love that video. A lot of people tell me that's their favorite video of mine. I think that K-Dog and Gazz and Ryan all said, wow, that's the best video I've seen that you've done so far. Have I been able to one-up myself since then? I'm not really sure. So those are a list of my favorite videos to make. And sorry, I see a comment here about Joe Fest. Andrew went to Joe Fest last year, but not going this year because he invited Mega J, but he ain't coming. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. And there's a few other questions in here. Let's see. Tim, Impossible Pie, one of the other patrons, says, Ken, what do you do in your spare time other than videos? Any hobbies, interests, etc.? One of my hobbies is taking a piss in the middle of TKO. So you all talk amongst yourselves, and I'll be back in about 2 minutes with an answer. Actually, I need to stall and think of what my hobbies are outside of TKO. Be right back. Are you surprised Ken can't hold his bladder or his liquor? Please hold. Yes, correct. Thank you for all staying here. I didn't see. I mean, it still has the same number of viewers before I left there. Bit of a cheeky way to sneak out like that. I'm one of those people who says, go to the bathroom before you start the stream. I do, and then my kidneys say, screw you, we're loading more water into your bladder. And I'm like, it's easier when I have a guest on, but when I don't, whatever. Maybe just don't drink water for the day and then just drink after the stream is over. But even then, my kidneys will find a way. Anyway, yes, I do need a please stand by graphic. Oh, yes, I could probably just take a piss inside a jug if I'll just be doing a TKO and you'll suddenly hear, psh, I bet just ignore that. Just ignore that. I'm still talking. Right. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Any hobbies or interests outside of the channel? It doesn't seem like it, does it? It seems like everything I do is related to the channel. But okay. So, in all honesty, I am a big hockey fan. Some hilarious comments in the chat right now from you folks. I am a big hockey fan, but the team that I cheer for has not done well over the last number of years. And it's been so many years that I'm a little jaded, and I don't want to fall completely off the bandwagon because then I get accused of being a fair weather fan. And even in my own head, I don't want to be considered a fair weather fan. So I definitely like hockey. Just watching. I do rollerblade as a method of exercise, or use the treadmill. There's actually a treadmill right here next to me where I actually put the Intercontinental title on top of the treadmill. But yeah, I also love watching a lot of stuff like House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones. I'm really into that. I'd love to cover it more on the channel, but the thing that I struggle with as far as covering it on the channel is you cultivate a certain audience. And I'm going a little bit off topic here, but just to answer Tim's question, hockey, rollerblading, and watching hockey, actually doing rollerblading, and just catching a lot of shows on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. I'm trying to watch Transatlantic on Netflix right now. I'm about 2 episodes in. As people know, I'm a big fan of Gillian Jacobs, who played Britta on Community. Yes, Britta over Annie. I don't care what anybody says on Community. Okay, they're both pretty cool. But anyway, she's in that series, and it's about World War II. And I just finished watching a World War II documentary on Netflix, so jumping over to that just made a lot of sense. I do like watching documentaries. I did watch the Ken Burns Vietnam War documentary a few years back, and then they took all of Ken Burns and stuff off of Netflix. So I watched a different World War II documentary, and then I watched a documentary recently on the 9/11 attacks, tribute, Afghanistan, all that. I would never dare to cover that stuff on the channel because I like to consider myself a toy history channel. Yes, we love us some Hot D. And hey, Palpatine, good to see you. So I would love to cover more Hot D or House of the Dragon, but again, it's a bit of a different audience, right? Like if Ed's Retro Geek Out, who was one of the big channels that really influenced me with all his history stuff, he said to me that when he got going, he started narrowing his focus a little bit more. So I feel like if people come to me for Transformers, G.I. Joe, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of Motu, then all of a sudden I do a big swerve and start talking about something else. Like House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones is already a little bit over here, right? And if I do that too often, am I chasing viewers away? Now, a lot of my friends will say, Ken, just make content you like. And for the most part, I'm going to do that, right? I just don't want to make a complete 180 and be one of those channels who suddenly, like, you know, you start out as a sports channel and all of a sudden you become nothing but like a dietitian channel or something like that, right? I would like to talk more movie and TV stuff. Like that was partly why I elected to go with the Transformers history of the 86 movie and the A-Team series, because I think there's some crossover. In fact, a lot of crossover with the audiences because they grew up with a lot of the same thing. Sorry, I'm doing this thing with my hands again where I'm kind of going like this. Ryan Sweeney always made the joke that one day he's just going to tie my hands behind my back when I'm on camera and see whether I can actually do a live stream. And I'm like, I bet I can't do it. Like, it's actually really hard for me to do this. So I flagged a couple other questions in the chat. And I'm going to flag a couple more. Actually, I'm just going to flag them. And then, oh, who else is here? Highly Articulated is here. Okay, I'm going to answer that question. I will flag that. Wilhelm, you're here too. I actually just sent you a message and saw that you replied on Facebook before the stream started. And Matthew, if you knew the wholesome nature of the actress of Britta, she actually acts like Annie in real life. Look her up. She literally is a living Annie. She just plays the snarky, broken girl on TV, but she couldn't be more innocent. Anyway, sorry. Soapboxing on an unrelated topic. And thank you, Will, for this. Boy, a lot of comments. Oh, okay, I'll answer that as well. All right. So there's a lot of questions that are piling up backstage that I will answer in a bit. Now, I don't know if I showed this yet on camera, but this is my recent Sergeant Slaughter haul from my buddy Peter. And I don't often talk toy hauls on here, but I may start doing some unboxings. The reason I like doing that is because they're easier to do, they're palate cleansers, and also people like seeing that stuff, right? It took me a long time to realize that not everything has to be this fully edited, highly produced thing with lots of transitions, lots of photos, edited voiceovers, fully scripted, because that takes so much time. There's a lot of people who've told me that their favorite videos are just when I unbox something. I'm like, well, I go camera on, I unbox, and I go, do you think this is cool? I'm like, you like that better? I'm like, the effort is like literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, like 5% of what it is. Anyway, all right. I'm going to show you what I got. My buddy Jeff, who I often talk about on the channel, had this spare Galvatron. I always have this running joke with Jeff because he sells me his reject Transformer boxes. So like this to him, I don't know why. He upgraded to a better box and said, here, take the Galvatron. And I bought it from him for a pretty fair price. It's got the original foam. It's got, if you see here when I pull it out of the box, I'm not going to do like a full unboxing of this or anything, but you can see there it's got the instructions. Sorry, it's got the instructions. It's got the tech specs decoder. It's got the paperwork of the catalog from that year, or it might even be the previous year's catalog because some of the catalogs overlapped onto 2 different years. But yeah, he caught me at a good time because I happened to be filming the history of Transformers in 1986. And then he was like, hey, you want to buy a Galvatron figure? And I'm like, well, I guess the answer is yes. In fact, it's very obviously yes. And he's like, yeah, you know, I found a better box, so I'm going to sell you this one if you're down. And I'm like, of course I'm down. So that's a great figure. I only have the purple reissue in my collection, and I got that because it was more anime color accurate. And This, however, is the one that I had as a kid, even though it's a more bland color scheme. So happy to get this. And also in the same haul, I had this as a kid. I remember the day my grandmother bought it for me, and the day I fell asleep in the car on a road trip. And when I woke up, my brother handed me this and said it was from our grandmother. And of course, he got the Autobot Springer, which as a kid, I was a bit jealous that I thought it, because I thought it was I thought he got the better figure. Okay. Sorry, I'm just flagging a couple more comments here. They're not questions, but they're still great. I already have an Astro Train in my collection, but this... Okay, so that's what happened. With this one, first off, I like this... Oh, wait, no, this is the US box. The Galvatron, the Canadian box with bilingual. This box is actually in very good shape, but I guess he found an even better box. This even has still the Toys R Us sticker on the side. It was $9.97 way back when. But this this insert is a reproduction insert. Now, I am not... Oh, instructions. And a gun. Okay, so it's complete. You'd think I would check for instructions before buying the darn thing, but that's great. I don't normally, for the purpose of my collection, I don't like getting repro boxes. But for some reason, I don't have a problem with reproduction insert, because to me, the insert is just to hold it. It doesn't, it's not, it's just there to help the cosmetics of the box, if that makes sense, and the cosmetics of seeing the figure inside. Now, by and large, I like getting toys I didn't have as a kid. I didn't have a Triple T as a kid. Obviously, I didn't have a replica bootlegish IC title. This, for some reason, because of that memory of waking up from a nap on the road, as a kid, and my brother handing me this the short time he was into Transformers, because he wasn't into Transformers for long, and him saying this is from our grandmother, before she passed away in 2008. Mind you, I got this in like 1987, so it was like 20 years before she passed away. And it just brought back a great memory for me. So legit box, legit figure, legit instructions, reproduction inside inner bubble. And I recently got the proper styrofoam on the Diaclone Battle Convoy, or the Diaclone Optimus Prime as well. That one, I wanted the legit insert, because that's like my holy grail. It's like a centerpiece to my collection. So not to downplay what the Astro Train is as a memory, but I wanted to get that. Anyway, and let's see, what's the question here? No, it's not the reissue from Walmart. It's the original from 1986. The bubble, is the bubble from the reissue? No, the bubble is from somebody who actually makes reproduction insert bubbles. So no. Every time I move the box, it makes you nervous. You know what? Some people said when they see me do an unboxing, it actually gives them anxiety when I'm unboxing a modern figure, because I go pretty hard with the scissors, and I go pretty hard with the plastic bubble inside. But it's become a staple of what I do. Okay. Yeah, in today's day and age, Galvatron will get arrested in London for trying to disrupt the coronation. All right, let's get to some flag comments back here. All right, so K-Dog Broadcasting asks, do I still watch contemporary wrestling, WWE or AEW? Now, no, it's funny. I thought I talked about it often enough, but I guess I don't. I do watch AEW. I used to watch it every single week. Lately, I haven't been able to, or if I do, I turn it on in the background and just watch it that way. Actually, covering AEW figures was one of the big things I wanted to cover on this channel. Excuse me, getting some reflux. And I just haven't covered it that much right now, because when I started to look back into the histories of Transformers, G.I. Joe, etc., there was just a lot to cover there. And I've been doing the year-by-year histories for G.I. Joe, Transformers, and LJN Wrestling as well. I don't know if it's a bit much, but I also know that, like, documentaries like the Toys That Made Us, they do the whole thing in a 45-minute segment, and then that's it. I'm like, but us as collectors, we liked the we collected, we remember specific years. So that's how I choose to do the histories. But that wasn't your question. Do I still watch contemporary wrestling? WWE, I watched the WrestleMania main event for Cody Rhodes to see whether or not he'd win the title. I've been meaning to go back and just watch some more WWE Network stuff, and I haven't been able to. I wish wrestling could be great again, and some people say it still is, but there's just so much to occupy our time and divide our time these days that it's been hard to keep up with much wrestling. I didn't even keep up with the Bloodline storyline that well. I would just read snippets in the news, and that was about it. So TJC channel member asks, I have a question for you, Ken. Which of my streams that I've already got in the can am I itching to release? So TJC knows something most people don't know, which is that I film a lot in advance. Obviously, live streams, I got nothing in the can. I have a recording that Gazz, myself, and Anthony Romo from Toy Kind of Mood did, where we pre-recorded a 1 hour talk, a TKO pre-recording on toy lines that we got into late in life, stuff we didn't collect as children that we collect now. Now, the idea was and still is to air that when I'm out for a Joe Fest weekend. At the time, I still thought I was going to do TKO every week, and if I can, I will, but I may need a short break from TKO stuff just for my own, like, just so a lot of it is sensory overload, right? You're producing videos. I'm working on the Delta 17 toy line. I've got the Patreon. I've got the live streams. I still have a full-time job. I got a wife and kid. And somehow I found a way to make it all work, or maybe I haven't, right? But I do have this feeling that it's a bit hard to keep sustainable. But again, that wasn't your question. You said, which am I itching to release? Not a stream, but the video on the Terrordrome is the one that I'm itching to release. That and History of G.I. Joe 1983, both are filmed. One will probably come up in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and the Terrordrome one will be sometime in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and the History of G.I. Joe 83 will be my Cobra Convergence video, because Hans Chow and I collaborated on that, and I wanted to give him a chance to be part of Cobra Convergence. So there you go. K-Dog, Gretzky, Gordie Howe, or Ovechkin? Who's the hockey goat? Pavel Bure. You can guess which team I cheer for. Okay, it's Gretzky, but Pavel Bure. All right. Do I enjoy horror movies? I watched Fear Street because Gillian Jacobs, who plays Britta from Community, was in it. Does that count? I watched Scream way back in the day, and I Know What You Did Last Summer and The Ring, but I don't keep up with horror movies today. That's why you don't see a whole lot of my that on my channel. Highly Articulated asks, which do you think is the best AWOC-centric YouTube channel under 500 subscribers? Brick Something. Definitely Brick Something. And if you get a chance, subscribe to Highly Articulated. He's my second favorite AWOC-centric YouTube channel under 500 subs. Now let's get him to 501 so that he doesn't ask this question again. Thank you, Adam. Am I going to Joe Fest as a fan? I'm always a fan, just a fellow fan like the rest of the people, or am I going there to speak? Now, as far as Delta 17 is concerned, we don't have a panel lined up for Delta 17 yet. We have a booth there, so maybe we'll speak at a future Joe Fest, but not this one. But we'll have a booth, so come say hello. Have I ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Funny question. Is Ryan Sweeney asked me that, and I guess the answer is yes. Be impromptu and enjoy my live chats. It's my show and the rest of the guests. Yeah, I do fall into this trap of trying to curate every conversation, keep it really organized, and do it in such a way that people get hooked into the conversation. And I'm aware that I do a lot of theatrics. I do this like rocketing introduction. I go TKO, which I haven't even done in a long. Haven't done in this stream. I do it every TKO, so I can't say I haven't done it in a long time. And then I introduce my guests with the big red carpet entrance. And the reason I do that is because I just want the stream to look energetic and different than to be not other live streams, but be among those that are energetic and welcoming and keep people coming back. So, and one thing I did want to ask the audience as well is, when you watch this channel, do you do it because of the TKO streams? Is that your main motivation? Is it the history videos? Is it the deep dives that aren't necessarily history related? Is it for reviews? Is it all of the above? Because TKO wasn't even going to be a thing when I started this channel. So I do want to throw a question back to everybody else. I know that's not a question, that's more of a statement. And K-Dog Broadcasting puts the statement out here. Simple reason for unboxings. It's great to see people get other things you may be curious about or live vicariously through and may not have the means to get. That is true. My issue is I tend to get very anxious when there's a lot of dead air time. And when I'm going fiddling through boxes, you know, I feel like I might rip something because I have this weird anxiety thing where I think to myself, oh, there's too much dead air. I should say something. I should do something. I should hurry up. But you're right. There's a candid experience there, and I don't always have to hold the YouTube experience to the same experience as like the Netflix experience. YouTube is meant for a more creator, fan-friendly, everyone congregate together in a casual environment. So I guess that's fair too. I know I've missed a lot of comments in the chat, so I'm just going to give it a quick scroll back, see if there's any questions. Well, first thing I'm going to do here, since it stands out, I'm going to say, Skyfall, thank you for the super chat, the $11 super sticker super chat. You are a very loyal patron to the channel and a very loyal viewer, watcher of the channel. Oh, Jeff C. and Fuller Figures are here. Thanks for showing up. Mike Hex is here as well. I just won the lottery. What line am I funding to be created? Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if that was a theoretical question. Like, you just won the lottery. What figure are you going to buy? Obviously, rocket firing Boba Fett, right? What line am I funding? It's Delta 17. I don't actually own the line. I'm there as a creative consultant, but Steve, who runs the line, he's got the funding. He is a designer by trade. He has 3D sculptors on the payroll who are there as part-time contractors, a bit like me. And he's already got the funding for it. We're going to go to Joe Fest. We're going to, we have actually already done a live stream showing the test shots, which is like the late stage tooled up prototypes for those who didn't see that stream. And yeah, it's an O-ring military based line, very Black Ops based. And yeah, check it out. Check out that live stream, or check it out on my Instagram, or check it out on the Delta 17 Instagram. If you get a chance. Now let me just scroll up. Ooh, Terradrome. Yes. Been looking forward to it. And yeah, let me just see who else. Did I miss a whole lot? Is it possible to pre-record footage from the future? You tell me. You're in the future for me right now. All right, what am I missing here in the chat? Thank you all for coming here, by the way. There was upwards of 27, 28 people watching earlier, so I wasn't sure whether this topic and the time of day and the day of week was going to be interesting enough to attract people. But like I said, I wanted to do this as a palate cleanser for other content. Let's see here. Oh, the Classic G.I. Joe collection. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I did a collection tour last summer. It's a lot of work to do a collection tour. As you know, I like to take the footage and then voiceover on top. Maybe it'd be easier if I just took the camera and spoke candidly. But even then, I have so many figures bunched together. Sometimes I need to put the camera down, take the front row of stuff out, and film the back rows. I don't know. That's why it's hard for me to do like a candid tour. That and storage, right? I mean, if you have your camera on for over an hour, it's a lot of storage that I'm not set up for. So yes, K-Dog says he watches everything I put on to learn, participate, or even just be on. I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate that what I'm hearing from this comment is that you follow me as the creator more so as the content, right? And I've never even stopped to consider the fact that the creator is actually the driving force behind why you watch content or why people watch content. I've literally never stopped to think. All right, recently I've stopped to think about that because there's some creators that I do watch because I like them, I like their personality, but I never, when I started this channel, stopped to think that was the reason for it. That's why several of my videos at the beginning was just me putting my hands in the camera and the light box, and I'm still going to do those kinds of videos, but they haven't been the lifeblood of the channel like I thought they would be. So yeah, sorry, no snacks. Let's see. 3K subs, no place to give any advice, but I always pre-record unboxings, even if you aired on a live stream. That's a good point, actually. I haven't thought to actually do that live. I would normally premiere it rather than go live. Yeah, I fell for that joke again, Jim. Let's see. Who else is there? What's this? Chris Con in July. All right, let us know. And thank you, Gura's PC Glass. Thank you, Woodman 29. Carl Casey's. I'm not actually sure because I usually just go with what I've been doing is I've been using the YouTube free music. That's what I've been using. They've got the free audio library, and that's just what I do. The rock and roll intro is literally called Rock Intro 3. that's the one that you see at the start of the TKOs, at the start of most of my videos, and in the outro when I'm telling everyone to click on the end screens at the end. That's Rock Intro 3. Let's see here. Kayla already asked this question, Jim. Who is my favorite? Oh no, you're asking the reverse question. What is my favorite channel to guest on, and why is it Largo's Lair? It's because Largo's Lair is an underrated, wise person, underrated channel, and a wise person. I'm trying to say two things, and I combined it into one sentence, or one thought, I should say. And you should subscribe to his channel if you want to get some casual hangout type of stuff. And he does some deep dives as well on Action Force. So yeah, more power to you, Jim. Studio Henge Kenton, my local friend with the same name. Thank you for that comment. And see, again, I never thought about that. Fuller's Figures, it has me on it. That's good enough. And I don't stop to think that me as a creator is something people want to see. So I'm still getting used to that thought, right? Yes, I've been around YouTube for 2 years. No, I'm no longer the new guy. And there are times when I run into some discouraging things that happen on YouTube. Some of them directly involve me, and they're hard to stomach. But when I was a smaller channel of like 300-400 subscribers, I never ran into those kinds of issues. At the time, it was just, oh wow, I just found your channel. Why isn't it bigger? And this is by no means a big channel at all, but it's visible enough now that you can get trolled, you can get the malicious comment here and there, you can get treated weirdly by other people in a way you didn't expect. I'm purposely being a little bit vague here because I don't want everyone to like jump down one specific person's throat, because it's not one specific person, right? It's just a semi-ongoing thing that happens. But a lot of the bigger creators, like both Mega J and Mad Hatter, told me that they're just used to it by now. It doesn't get easier, but they're used to it by now. And okay, Matthew, we'll see you for the Patreon live stream. Oh, Ryan, we were just talking earlier. Thank you for your support, and I mentioned you a few times already on this channel. Oh, I think that's a question for Largo. And yeah, we need a Ralph sighting. You want Ralph? He's right there. I'd have to walk over and get him. Snoopy not doing the job. He doesn't talk as much. So anyway, I gotta wrap this. Actually, no, I don't have to wrap this up for another half hour or so. So I've got maximum another half hour before I gotta jet and get my kid picked up from school. Now, so I'll wrap up in 30 minutes, and then an hour after that, I'll do my Patreon and channel members live stream. By the way, this is just a quick interlude while questions pile up in the chat, if there are any more, since I think I've answered everything. But the one thing I do want to not so much draw people's attention to, but because I'm doing a Patreon stream and channel member stream later, is if you have ever Toy Connections Patreon at all, some of the people are members here, like K-Dog Broadcasting is a patron, Ryan Sweeney, Comstock, a few of you, I missed a few names, Johnny Sorensen, who was here before the stream started, Skyfall. They're all patrons of the channel. A few others like Jim, Largo, Gazz, they're channel members. TJC is a channel member. So the thing about, I'll start with channel memberships, and those are supposed to be $1 Canadian, but let me know if you're being charged $1 US, because YouTube and Patreon have this way where they round funny. That just gives you access to emojis and badges. The Patreon is where I put up all my bonus content. Now, when it's bonus content that's not part of the written stuff here, like a live stream, like I don't have that listed as bonus content, that I'll open up the channel members as well, depending on the situation, depending what I'm talking about. So that's why the upcoming stream is both a Patreon and channel members live stream. But the Patreon benefits are, I'll just do this very quickly because if you're here to hear me talk, you don't need to hear me talk about how to give me money, right? That's not what this is about, right? This is for fun first. But I have had some people ask about the Patreon because it's easier sometimes just to ask the creator rather than read through it, because there's a billion Patreons you could look at when you're on there. So what the base tier, $2.50 a month Canadian, which I think rounds down to $2 American, is I will put your name under the special thanks section in the video description. I will either verbally mention in the video that the names are in the Patreon, or in the names of the patrons are in the description below, or I'll flash up just some text. If I think it's going to interrupt what I'm saying, I'll just flash up some text saying thanks to the patrons, names below. You get access to my Patreon Toy Ramblings video series, which is just an exclusive. Sometimes it's audio only, well, video, but I'm not on camera, or it is a video where I just do like backstage talk, tell you what's upcoming, tell you what's on my mind, maybe even talk some toy news at that point in time, whatever's happening at that point in time. There's the Patreon only section where you can comment with other supporters. I will put up camera roll footage to preview videos, and early access, of course, to videos prior to release. But I think that the main advantage is early access to videos and the bonus videos, and that's in the base tier. The middle tier has all that, but also adds the benefits. You can request a script from me if you just want to know how I wrote the video. And also I will show previews, high-res previews of thumbnails, non-live stream thumbnails, just the regular thumbnails for videos. And then the top tier gives you all of that. Plus I will plug your social media outlet if you want me to. And you can also schedule a regular monthly phone call with me just for 20 minutes max. So not everyone's used those benefits yet, but that's okay. Some people, they like supporting the upper tier just because they say they like my work. So anyway, I don't mean to ramble on about that, but just letting people know, like, none of my friendships or anything are ever going to be based on whether or not you're a patron of the channel. It's nothing mandatory. Like, I'm friends with a lot of people. They're friends with me. I'm not on their Patreon. They're not on mine. But if you want access to that live stream later, you can sign up. Or if you want access to my older Patreon Toy Ramblings, it's there for that. So again, just letting people know, because sometimes I get asked. Anyway, yes, my kid turns 8 next week. And does he collect? He doesn't really collect. He has some Transformers. He has some tanks. He has some Lego stuff. And he plays with them when I'm there to play with him. Otherwise, he doesn't really care about them. I've tried to get him more into toys, but it's always like a me and him activity rather than a him by himself activity. So I guess that answers your question. Otherwise, he's mostly on his tablet or his Nintendo Switch, or he's on the TV, browsing YouTube, anything but his dad. He watches on YouTube. Anyway, did I always select Ken as my character when I was playing Super Street Fighter Turbo? I selected Ryu, believe it or not. I was a Ryu kind of guy when I would play any Street Fighter game. Even Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I used Ryu. I'm not sure what it is. I think because he's just a little bit faster than Ken, even though Ken's damage is a little higher, like he's a little bit stronger. So yeah, that's... Oh, I also ordered the Jada Toys Street Fighter Ryu figure. That's... I didn't get Fei Long, because I just want to get the original 12 characters and then maybe add Akuma and maybe add Cammy. So just because Cammy and Akuma I know from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but otherwise I'm sticking it for the most part to the 8 main characters in the original World Warrior Champion Edition and Turbo games and the 4 bosses. Ken's a better name than Ryu. I don't know if Ken is actually better than Ryu. Ryu and Venom you're talking about for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game. I did use Venom a lot as well. My friends always found a way to beat me, though, because I was kind of predictable in how I played that game. I loved the game, but I was really predictable. So I was hard to play against if you had never played against me. But then my combos were always the same, and they eventually started beating me, and I'd lose 10, 20 games in a row, and I'd just quit. I had fun playing, but I'd get into this weird pattern where I wasn't very creative with my combos after a while, right? Blanca is a little bit of an underrated character. Most people, they like Ryu, Ken. I've only met one person who used Dalsum as a primary character and drove me nuts because he knew exactly how to use the long arms and the long legs. But I don't meet many people who know how to use Blanca effectively. So, yeah. Anyway, yes, the flaming uppercut, depending on the game that you played, if you timed it properly, it was an amazing weapon to use. So, yeah. What else is here? Cammy, if you knew how to use her, was pretty amazing. In fact, a lot of people used her, right? Marvel versus, I'm not sure if you're talking about Super Street Fighter or whether you're talking Marvel versus Capcom 2. So, yeah. Anyway, if there's any other questions you wanted to ask, there's been a lot of fantastic questions so far on this live stream. And I only had maximum 75 minutes to do this one anyway, which is all the more reason why it made sense for me to do this by myself. A lot of you, as far as what I was talking about earlier with collaborating and working with other channels a lot. I mentioned the other channels I worked with earlier when I started. You have seen me a lot on Mega J's channel, at least those of you who follow his channel. That was never intended to be a regular thing and probably won't be going forward. It's just, it happens that at the time that my kid falls asleep and my family doesn't need me is like 30 minutes before Mega J goes live. So it works out perfectly where I can put the boy to sleep and then go downstairs and set up the camera in time for his streams. So that's why you see me on his channel a lot. Like I laughed because I went to a toy show one time and somebody knew me as Ken from Mega J Retro. They thought I was a legit co-host of that channel rather than actually my own channel, but that's okay. I was totally cool with that. You saw me somewhere, and that's interesting. So Mike Hext asks, what's the toy I'd save if there was a fire and everyone was safe? So assuming that Snoopy and Ralph are pets and people that are also safe and they'll run out the door themselves with the wife and kid, I would save the Diaclone Battle Convoy, the precursor to Optimus Prime. I just finished putting together a video to air that, and it's about me having completed the item finally. When I first got it, it was missing 3 of the Diaclone drivers, and it had a reproduction foam inside. Actually, it was a custom foam. I can't even say it's reproduction because it wasn't the same layout on the inside. It was a slightly different layout, so it's basically a custom foam. So I got the legit real foam now and the 3 Diaclone drivers that are really hard to find. So that's what I would save because it's the one thing that I think I would have the hardest time getting back. Usual Mike TV, you are here. Actually, he was on the other night as well with Mega J Retro and Mad Hatter and myself. Man, we had a great time that night as well. So okay, K-Dog, really good question. If there was a YouTube channel creator I haven't reached out to, if I have one, who would it be? Really loaded question. I was asked this by somebody else as well, and I think the obvious answer would be Dan from Toy Galaxy. It's funny, I make a joke sometimes that when I have my light up bookcase in the background, especially when I don't go with the white light setting, if I go with the colored setting, like if I pick blue or if I pick multicolors or I pick red, and I sit in front of the camera with my hair gelled and gesturing and talking toy histories, I've screenshotted myself doing that before and screenshotted Dan Larson doing that. And I sent it to a few friends and I put it on the GDL Discord server and said, which one's the knockoff? Right. Obviously, I don't do it the same way he does. When I do my history videos, like I'm off camera more than I'm on camera, whereas for him, it's the other way around. So obviously, if you just take the screenshot, it makes for a bit of a joke or a bit of a meme. But otherwise, I'd like to get him on. Who would I like to get on as well? Because a lot of the big creators, like there's some that I've been on their channel or they've been on mine. That's why I'm not mentioning them. But people I've never collaborated with, that would be one. Maybe Pixel Dan. He could be one as well, potentially. Anyway. Or I should just flatter usual Mike and say, who would I like to have? But I have reached out to him before, so I just say usual Mike TV. It would be one, but it's someone who I have reached out to, so I guess it doesn't really count. Yeah, I guess you're talking about Dan as the main eventer, but is he even the biggest? Like, I think Shardamus's channel is bigger than his, and I think a lot of people don't mention MGO as well, MGO 316. because he's mainly a Transformers guy who just does individual reviews, third-party reviews, and whatnot. He's actually him and Ozstradamus would be the two biggest toy channels as far as like adult targeted collectible toy channels. But Dan Larson, I guess, would be the biggest history channel. So I guess that makes sense. Let's see. Studio Henge Kenton asks, "You'd be curious if any Transformers stand out for me as being extra fun to transform." None of them. I don't like transforming them, which is one of the reasons why I don't like doing reviews on new Transformers, because it means I got to transform them. Yeah. And you know what, TJC, it won't be the only stream that you're on. Like, we've done games night together on Sergeant Slaughter Slaughterhouse. And I think what it is that TKO, I have a bit of an open door thing going on, because if you're somebody who I can have a coffee table conversation with, and you don't mind me pacing and curating the conversation my way, then you're more than welcome to come on, as long as I think we jive together as people. Oh, and Vickman, I do appreciate that comment that, yeah, those are popular channels, but you like channels like this. And yeah, I appreciate that. And some of those channels do help set the template for what other channels are going to be like. Yes, I like to just turn the camera on and do my own thing, but when I can add extra production value, one of the reasons why I add the extra production value is, like most people, I can't stand hearing myself talk, right? If I stutter, for me, that stutter is extra loud and extra echoey for me, even though everybody stutters. So if I put extra production value and I do end up watching something to see if I've covered a topic before, or if I want to just retread old information for the purpose of something coming up, if that makes sense. If I put extra production value, I can be prouder of myself when I watch it back, when I have to watch it back. The question here about Jeff Hicks, you're talking about the world-class Jeff Hicks. So that's what I meant when I said that there's other channels large channels that I've worked with, but I've been on their channel. Jeff Hicks is one of them, actually. So yeah. And yeah, we're all a big part of the tiny piece of the puzzle that's known as toy collecting stuff. Yeah. Oh, Boba Hicks, on that topic, I almost mentioned saying that it was okay to transform G1 stuff, but when the joints get stuck, boy, are they frozen stuck. Andrew Davis, I'll leave my email address in the chat for you, or you can just send me a private message on Instagram, but I'll just toss that there. I don't know if that's actually on the main channel itself, but anyway, yeah, if you want to send me a message, go ahead. Pixel Dan triple threat match. Yeah, he's actually a wrestler by trade. Like, other than writing the Masters of the Universe book with Mattel and just being one of the more successful toy tubers, he's actually a wrestler on the side as well, which is great. Yeah. So anyway, if you do need to email me, Andrew, my email address is there in the chat. So yeah. Oh, Will Agnes is here. Am I gonna swapping and popping Mythic Legions? It's not on my radar right now. I like them as they come out of the packaging. I know that that's a whole nother side of Mythic Legions and Four Horsemen type of collecting. So yeah, I love them. I haven't done the pop and swap yet, but I'm sure an intuitive one will come by. Okay, Savage Crucible. I'm not in on Savage Crucible. I was pretty tapped out just mentally on Kickstarters at the time it came out. Nothing wrong with what the guy did. In fact, it's an amazing line. I know Dom from Toy Domination covered it quite heavily. I believe Adam from Highly Articulated covered it as well. I thought he had the creator on his channel. So I'm not in on it. But for those who went in, oh, it's going to be such a good line. Have I been to Oregon? I briefly went to Portland when I went to the south part of Washington. I was dragged/went on a camping trip at the south part of Washington, and we took a drive through Oregon. We weren't there very long, so I have been to Portland, I guess I can say. Is this the same JJ that lives in Vancouver with me? Either way, welcome. Congrats on 3K. I'm doing all right. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, E-Collectibles is going to get some Savage Crucible stuff. Okay, perfect. If they are, that's great, because I always buy stuff from Mike as well. So yeah, anyway, look, these pop-up live streams, if you enjoy them, especially for the audience engagement and interaction. Like I said, I try to get to as many comments as I can. I can't get to every single one. If you're just saying hi to each other, a lot of times I don't pull that comment up. And of course, I talk about pulling up comments and who shows up with his generosity as usual. Articulated Chad, soon to be rebranded, says congratulations on Ken. How cool is Joe Fest going to be? Absolutely. I can't wait to meet you in person, Chad. And you just did a 4 p.m. stream yesterday with Ryan and Jeremy, if I recall correctly. So, well, sorry, 7 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. your time. So, yeah, and you've had Hood Cobra Commander on. You've had a lot of people on, actually. And I imagine you're going to do another one relatively soon. So, yeah, thank you again for the super chat. You're one of my, you're very generous out there, Chad. Love having you around. And do I collect anything other than toys? Okay, so I used to be big into comic book collecting, and I made a point of collecting trade paperback stuff because I just wanted to read the story. All my favorite Batman stories, whether it's Long Halloween, Court of Owls, Year One, etc., are all in trade paperback form. I just recently bought issue 1 of the Transformers because it was in good condition, and the person only wanted 40 Canadian for it, so I went with it. But generally speaking, I stick to toys. I used to collect rock music CDs. That's why the Toy Connections intro was very rock music heavy. I don't look like a rocker, and for the most part, I'm not. But I like rocking out to rock songs. I don't have those CDs anymore. I got rid of the entire collection. But yeah, and thank you for that, Will. Everyone's saying hi to Chad in the chat. Look, this has been fun. I probably got to go in about 10 minutes. Oh, good question in the chat. What do I think about the Arctic bat? Actually, one of the channel members, Crash, just sent that image to me, and Black Genghis KJ just posted that on Instagram. I'm excited for it. I haven't done those variants yet. Like, I've been sticking to classified figures that are an update 6-inch figure of the originals that I had. I haven't, like, I would get characters, and I have gotten characters like Kamakura. I would get Joe Colton. Army Builder repaints and sub-teams are a dangerous rabbit hole for me. I'll probably get sucked in at some point, but for now, I've tried to stick to the characters as they appeared in the original toy line or the original cartoon. And Classified has ballooned into something I never expected it would be. I'm happy for it, but it's yet another rabbit hole, right? And I don't have mixed feelings about Classified, but I collect Classified for what it is. I like G.I. Joe in the 6-inch scale, but I truly believe it lives in the 3 3/4 or 1/18 scale because of the world building aspect and the more, I say ease of army building, but the army builders are going up in price, right? Like the 6-inch scale, I like. See, 6-inch was popularized because of Marvel Legends, right? See if you can follow my train of thought here. I'm soapboxing a little bit on the side before we end the stream here. But Marvel Legends, I think, can live in 6-inch primarily because of the superhero aspect of it. It's about the characters and their powers, right? It's less on the world building. As far as Star Wars is concerned, because they were the next one to follow the 6-inch trend, now you get into the world building. You got lots of stormtroopers. You get AT-ATs and large vehicles that are impossible to do in that scale. But the Jedi stuff, is all like superhero type stuff, right? So it's like, that part lives. Yeah, there you are, like 1/18th world building. When you get to Star Wars Black Series, the world building is on the troop building and the large vehicles. So that kind of lives in the G.I. Joe space, but they make 6-inch figures, 1/12 of that. But any Jedi stuff, Luke versus Vader, you know what I mean? Maul versus Obi-Wan, that's very superhero-y. That's got the Marvel touch to it, where that can live in any scale. In fact, it's probably better in 1/12 scale. G.I. Joe, I love the characters so much that I like having them in the 6-inch scale, but I never expect to get like a Rolling Thunder or a Terrordrome in that scale, much less a Flag or a Defiant. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about G.I. Joe Classified. I love it. I will continue to collect it, but I know that if you ask me my G.I. Joe Holy Grails, they're all in the 1/18th scale because they're the larger vehicles, right? Or they're the foreign stuff that is not likely to get released in Classified. Tiger Force Outback notwithstanding. Okay, if that makes sense. So yeah, and yes, please subscribe if I have if you already haven't. Aerosmith farewell tour. Sorry, I totally soapbox side rant on that. It's because I've been thinking about doing a live stream or a video called Scales of Superiority and start with the 12-inch Joe and talk about that. But I also think that because there's some divisiveness in the classified community as it is, I don't want to invite that. I did enough of that last week with the HasLab and Mattel Creation stream. So that's one of the main reasons I haven't done that. G2. I was wondering, like, why did you mention G2 Jazz? Because of that. I just realized. Yeah, Yoda versus Doku was another one. And that's exactly what I was saying, Chad. Like, it works exclusively in 1/12 because of the spandex and superpowers, and for the reasons I mentioned for Star Wars, Black Series, and for G.I. Joe, why I like it in that scale, but also why I always go back to 1/18. So, like, I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too with G.I. Joe. Yeah, and what was Andrew Davis saying here? Since I'm going to Joe Fest, he'll consider coming down. But he spent too much money when he's there, so he wants to convince Mega J. I think Mega J is going to PowerCon though, isn't he? So yeah. Biggest grail that I haven't acquired besides, so I don't have the Defiant. It's the Flag and the Terror Drone that I have, and the Rolling Thunder, the Mobile Command Center, and the 83 headquarters. The Defiant is the big one that I don't have, and I've always told the story that I had the chance to get it as a kid. I never did. I passed on it and grabbed the Mobile Command Center, even though they were across the aisle from each other at Toy City way back in the day. Man, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. Toy City. Yes, Ryan, absolutely. Like what you like and buy what you want. Don't let anyone else's opinion control what makes me happy. Unless it's Ryan Sweeney, then I let him influence me all the time. Mic drop. I just realized I'm on alone. I can't hear if anybody's actually laughing. But yeah, this is especially true for reproduction stuff. I got a repro bubble inside there for the Astro Train. I'm not going to let somebody tell me that it's wrong. And yeah, now having said that, I don't own a lot of reproduction stuff, but selectively it makes it into the collection here and there. Okay, I'm worried about that. The gantry is always broken, and I've heard it can always smash into a bunch of pieces. Some people say just buy the Crusader, and I'm like, but then it's not the Defiant. The Crusader is cool. No, is that a good idea? Now you got me thinking, right? You see how you say one thing, and I take it and I swerve it in another direction. But yeah, anyway, this has been a fun live. I probably got to go in about 5 minutes time, but yeah. If anybody does sign up for the Patreon or the channel memberships, you will either see it in an old Patreon post, access to the stream, or you'll see it on the channel members tab. And did anybody send me a question on Instagram? I'm just realizing right now that let's see. No. Okay. Sorry. I saw my thing pop up and I thought maybe Andrew Davis got a hold of me to ask something. But anyway, yeah. Okay, cool. I think I'm basically caught up, and this was good. Like, the timing was good on this particular stream, in terms of the length and the duration. You know, I wasn't about to do a 3-hour Q&A. I just don't think we're at that point in the channel yet. Yeah, very true, Ryan. And yeah, 83 Zap. 82 Zap's actually the harder one to get. Or is it 83 now? Pretty sure it's 82. Because I got my 83 Zap a long time ago, and I never stopped to think how expensive the 82 one would get, so I'll probably never get that figure. Yeah, it feels right. Yeah, how can something be wrong if it feels so right? There you go. What's the other song? If it feels good, do it, I guess is what it is. So, but yeah. So glad to hear some of the feedback in the chat, and that some people just enjoy seeing the content regardless of what it is. I usually have an expectation for content to perform a certain way because of either how much time I spent or the topic, and that's not always the case, right? When I went to Toy Traders, that video did really well, even though I didn't put as much effort into it, right? Other videos that I sweat over don't do as well, and that's okay. And what everyone always tells me, the same thing: put out the content you like, Ken. Make the content you want to make. Don't worry about the clicks and the views. Even though I'm so stats driven in my head, don't worry about it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. And honestly, I don't have a lot of regrets over the last couple of years, right? Like, yeah, there's one thing I might tweak here and there, but this has given me a new outlet. And I say this with a caveat, it's a very healthy outlet if you don't get too addicted like I do. I'll mention more on the backstage live about some of the conundrums I can run into on my own, because I am my own worst enemy when I do this thing. But you people as a community, everyone in the, I say partner channels or Streamathon community, the people I did Streamathon with, which includes Ryan, Gazz, who were in the chat, Zazel, Hans, Phil, Kelly, oh God, I know I'm forgetting somebody in that. Anyway, and then Matthew and Chad made short appearances on that as well. You know, it's not just that community, but also like usual Mike, you know, Mega J, those of you, Largo, all of you who I've either guested on your channel or you've guested on mine. And yeah, oh, Adam, obviously. Adam from Highly Articulated. It's funny because I was just making a video on Kendar. So like Adam is actually fresh on my mind right now, given that I just finished making that Kendar video. So yeah, and yeah, there's absolutely no wrong way to collect, and don't put it before needs. That's the thing. The need that I put it in front of is often sleep. That's my problem, right? It's not so much the family stuff; it's the sleep that I get when I'm almost done a video and it's only going to take another 90 minutes. I sometimes stay up and do it, right? If I put out a hockey or a music or hockey video, you'd watch. So I have done that in the past, not on this channel, but like on an old, like, actually, no, it's on the channel that I now use as my Patreon backstage channel. I did use Don't Stop Believing as a tribute to the 2011 Stanley Cup playoff run of my Canucks who lost in the finals. But of course, it's copyrighted music, so there's a little thing there that says I'm not allowed to ever monetize that video, but that's not a monetized channel anyway, so it's just whatever ads happen to come up that people put in. Zazel, if you're around, feel free to pop in on the backstage live chat that's coming up in just about an hour here. Yes. So funny, I forgot to mention Adam when I'm literally making a video that's very Adam heavy right now. So that's what I said. And he was actually the first one to ask me to collaborate. It was him and then Zazel. It went in that order. Who asked me to come on and do backstage chats and help give me some visibility in the early going of the channel. But anyway, I got to go do some school pickups. If you got any further questions, okay, I guess that counts as a further question. Where's the Megaforce love? By this guy and this guy and Adam and this guy and me. All right, so there's your Megaforce love right there. But anyway, I got to get to school pickups. If anybody's around in an hour's time for the backstage live, I'll talk to you then. I might even put the StreamYard link in the chat if I think I'm going to have extra time to do a live hangout with the members and patrons. But do not feel obligated to join. This was just a good opportunity to have that conversation and just be able to plug that membership and patron opportunity. That's why I chose to do that. Otherwise, I normally just stick it at the end of the videos very briefly, and I don't mention it because I don't want to make that a condition or an expectation of the channel. You're here as a viewer, maybe as a commenter, and that's good enough for me, right? Enjoy your toys, enjoy them with me, enjoy the ride, be good to each other. So on that note, I'll see you all next time. Again, I'm not sure when the next TKO is going to be, but I'll see you when I see you, and stay tuned for more videos. Take care and have a good one.